What's up, guys? And welcome to the first episode of E-Man's Takes, where we're going to discuss, as you can see, all things UCF football. Charge on, baby. Let's get it. Okay, so on today's episode, we're going to discuss the quarterback situation as it stands in UCF football. And I'm just going to kind of list them off by who I think is the least likely to who I think will be the eventual starter. I'll give you a couple scenarios, and we'll go through it one by one. The first guy we're going to discuss is the newest commit. Some of you guys, if you're not aware, his name is Parker Navarro. He's a mid-3-star recruit that's coming out of Desert Vista, Phoenix, Arizona. He's a guy with not a lot of offers. He's got 10 in total, but something to note, his three probably most prominent offers are UCF, Hawaii, and he did have one Power 5 offer coming out of Arizona State over there with Herm Edwards' boys. Interesting, I understand with the quarterback situation over there, they had a stud freshman named Daniels. We got a stud freshman named Dylan Gabriel. He chose to come over here, excited about his future. Not really sure of any outcomes or any predictions as far as he goes. We'll see, but I truly believe Heupel can basically develop anybody. We'll get to the second guy, Quadri Jones. So Quadri Jones, he's been a backup the last couple seasons, very limited action. When he's played, he's made the throw that he needed to make. We all remember that touchdown throw, the game Mac started against ECU, that bomb that he was able to hit for a touchdown, his only pass attempt. He made some headlines over in December. He had announced that he was going to enter the transfer portal. And I'm going to read you a tweet that he had. First off, I would like to thank God. Without him, none of this would be possible. I would like to thank my family and my friends for being behind me 100% of the way. It's been a stressful process, but I always find a way to get through anything I put my mind to. I would also like to thank Coach Moncrief and Coach Illy for recruiting me hard as they did. With that being said, I will be committing to Alabama State University. NHO, which I guess stands for New Horn Order, that's the mascot of Alabama State University. So, obviously that seemed like a good choice for him. I mean, he would have gotten an opportunity to start hopefully elsewhere. 99% I would say of college athletes, their whole goal when they go into college sports is to try to make that goal of being a professional, and that only starts with you getting a shot. As far as Alabama State and their standings or whatever D2 school, they look, you got guys like Carson Wentz in the NFL that's come from North Dakota State. You got Joe Flacco from Delaware. As long as you got your shot, you will have a shot to impress. Now, he decides to come back to UCF. Later in January, it was announced that he was not transferring to Alabama State. He's going to come back to UCF. So automatically for me, I'm going to be honest, that decision to me does not make any sense. Look, I'm all for camaraderie. I get that he probably has some boys in that locker room. He loves the coaches, loves the environment at UCF. But let me tell you something. Sometimes in life, you just got to go get it. I grew up in South Florida. A lot of my boys went to FIU. A lot of them went to FAU. A lot of them went to Broward College. I love the camaraderie. Didn't mean I'm going to stay in South Florida. We're still friends. I graduated from UCF 2013. We've been friends for over 15 years. So come on, Quadri. Not, in my opinion, not smart. Hey, but we'll have you. We respect it. Welcome back. The next guy we're going to touch on is Daryl Mack Jr. So, first things first, it's amazing how one injury could legitimately change the entire outcome of your college career. Daryl Mack takes the keys to the kingdom after the gruesome, nasty, horrific Mackenzie Milton injury versus USF. Comes back. He started that ECU game unannounced. They kind of played it pretty timid offensive play calling by Heupel that game. He did his thing. He ran the ball a lot. He managed the offense. Quadri came in through that bomb for a touchdown. At the end of the day, it was an easy win. He then comes on in relief against USF, and again he had it was timid play calling. McCray was able to tear it up on the ground. All the running backs did their thing. Mac did enough to make sure we got that W. Then finally, after a somewhat shaky first half against Memphis in the AAC Conference Championship, He had those 2 fumbles. One was recovered in the end zone by Koulibaly for the touchdown. That was awesome. Then in the second half, the D-Mac show showed what he can do. He's a 6'3", 230-pound beast. And in my opinion, Milton is obviously the GOAT. There's nothing to say bad against Milton. But when you look at the offense that Scott Frost tailored and it's been continued somewhat closely by Heupel, it's an offense that, yes, calls for a lot of shots down the field, which Mac obviously has the arm strength for. But the other thing it calls for is QB runs, right? You pick and choose when you want to run, design runs, whatever you want to do. Milton was great at picking his spots. He obviously suffered a gruesome injury. We're not going to blame it on the run. It was a freak play. That could have happened to anybody. But when you look at the kind of offense that we would run with Mac and that big frame and big body of his, he would be unstoppable in that offense. Those are just the facts. Obviously, in a small sample size, you look at his numbers and what he was able to do in that AAC championship game against Memphis. They couldn't stop him in the goal line. Heupel finally figured that out midway through last year. They could not stop him. He used him in wildcat formation, so whatever he wanted to use him in, they could not stop him. At a G5 level, a guy like D-Mac is a matchup nightmare. Even at a Power 5 level, similar to the way Chris Leak and Tim Tebow were used back in 2006 with the Florida Gators, it's a skill set you have to love. He's got a guy that's got zip on his throws. You look at some of the bombs he threw against Memphis. You look at that throw that he made to Gabriel Davis in the Fiesta Bowl against LSU last year. A lot of people, he took a lot of heat for that game, but let me tell you something. Their O-line could not block him. Sure, should he have made some better decisions? Absolutely. Did he fumble? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, he kept us in the game. We were a couple plays away. I remember third quarter, he threw that dime to Gabe Davis that went right through his hands. And when nobody was in front of him, he kept it close. We lost by 8 games. We were outplayed. It is what it is. Coming into 2019, he would, yes, Brandon Winbush had come in, but D-Mac was, to me, it would have been a no competition. You saw Winbush lost the job immediately following the FAMU game. Broke his ankle in the summer playing intramural basketball, which is unfortunate. Kind of ridiculous if you ask me. I mean, I'm not going to judge an 18, 19-year-old kid. At the end of the day, but you got to have your priorities in order, man. You just had your fingertips on the job. That is brutal. Came back, was used sporadically. Something I'm going to bring up about him. My prediction is that he transfers. I think he's going to transfer maybe at the end of the year. And I'm going to tell you why. Number one, he used his red shirt already, right? So if he's going to sit out, he's a redshirt junior coming into the season, which means he has 2 years of eligibility left. He can either transfer now, and we all know the transfer portal rules are a little bit murky. We don't know what's going to happen. He could transfer wherever, and he might play immediately if he can get some sort of clause, like some people like Justin Fields have been able to get. Tate Martell's another one at the University of Miami. And he's a guy that would have, in my opinion, a ton of interest. The other thing he could do, if he does not want to risk transferring and sitting out an entire season, he could gamble, compete for the job. I mean, at this point, he'd be possibly competing with Milton and Gabriel. My opinion, he would end up being the backup to whoever wins between Milton and Gabriel, and we'll touch on that in a little bit. And he can, instead of sitting out the year, graduate at the end of the year, be the backup as his junior season, and then enter the portal as a grad transfer, which he could play immediately. One interesting thing I'm going to read here. Bleacher Report did an article about intriguing camp battles for this upcoming season for UCF football. And the prediction here says Gabriel loses a starting job, but he sticks around, possibly taking a redshirt year while preparing to get back the gig in 2021. The battle between Mack and Milton will be closely monitored, and the loser would become a highly coveted portal candidate, particularly if it's Milton. But I expect Milton to get his job back, followed by Mack transferring to Virginia. It notes that he's from Norfolk, Virginia, possibly to replace Bryce Perkins. Another, that's one that obviously we had thought about, Virginia Tech. Anything local in Virginia, he's going to get rumored to. The other one to me, if he does decide to transfer, would be Ole Miss. We know Lane Kiffin took over there. And Jeff Levy, our old OC, he is now calling the plays over there. So that is something that we can keep an eye on. Again, Mac to me has all the talent in the world. He's one of those guys, and when you see him, to me, he's got that it factor. He's got prototypical NFL size. He's got the arm strength. He's got the ability to be mobile. You saw what a guy like Lamar Jackson can do in the right scheme. I think D-Mac has all those things. He's a huge Cam Newton fan. He's molded his game pretty similarly to that. So that's something that he just needs a chance, man. When he got the chance back in 2018, 2019, he was able to deliver. Last year, what happened is unfortunate, but he's a guy that I still believe could salvage his future. Next, we're going to go to Dillon Gabriel. Dillon Gabriel, what a job, what a season last year. Looking here, some of his numbers: 3,653 yards as a true freshman, 29 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He had to, he didn't play in a lot of fourth quarters the entire time. Mac would come in or whatever. Wimbush would come in at the beginning of the season. What a job. Took over as a true freshman. He's a guy from camp. All the reports were saying he's ready, he's ready, he's ready. We knew the second they wouldn't officially commit to Wimbush before week 1, that DG had him. He's pushed him to the brink. And at that point, like a lot were saying, if the competition's close between a fifth-year senior and a true freshman, go with the true freshman. The upside's there, and he proved it. He struggled a little bit on the road. The only 7 interceptions he threw were all on the road. Against Tulsa, he struggled a little bit against Pitt, and he struggled a little bit against Cincinnati. All those games, we can talk about those factors, and we'll get into that in another podcast. But the guy balled out, man. I mean, and right now, he obviously would be shored in as the incumbent starter, which leads us to our next guy, Mackenzie Milton. Mackenzie Milton, for those that went to school at UCF in the 2009, 2013, that 4-year cycle, Blake Bortles is our GOAT, right? He's our GOAT. Why? He's the first guy that took UCF to that first mountaintop. 2013 Fiesta Bowl champions against Baylor. First round pick, 3rd pick overall by the Jacksonville Jaguars. A lot of us ended up becoming Jaguars fans by proxy. So all that kind of things. Then comes in Milton, the Flying Hawaiian. Freshman year, had that uneven season, had a lot of issues with ball security, which is funny because a lot of you guys criticize Mac for that, but we forget Milton had the exact same issues. I remember being at that Maryland UCF game his freshman year, and that was brutal. But in that same game that went to overtime, we ended up losing. You kind of saw his potential, right? Could keep plays alive with his feet. He's a magician. The dude is unbelievable. Had that horrible, disgusting injury that many people thought was career-threatening. But at the end of the day, you know, God works in mysterious ways. He's a guy that's faithful to God, and he's been working his ass off, man. So here he comes. I'm going to read you a quote of his latest progress. Obviously, he didn't play at all last year. He took on kind of like a coaching assistant position, unofficially, obviously. So there's a quote from Heupel on the latest update. I'm so excited for him, Heupel said. You get the news and you're able to talk with him over the phone, and he comes back from the visit, and the next day he's doing squat jumps. Those hurdles are phenomenal. Those are great moments in the mountains he's had to climb from where the whole thing has started. I don't think any of us can appreciate how far he's actually had to come. The mental toughness just to get up and fight every day. He's still got a long way to go, and he knows that, but he's got great joy. He's really excited about where he's at and where he has an opportunity to go. Milton never took his redshirt year, so he never has to worry about taking a medical redshirt. Last year would have been technically his redshirt. He's going to be a 5th-year senior. Let's get this out of the way, the elephant out of the room. If Mackenzie Milton is medically cleared to play come fall camp, and he's ready, he's a starter. This is not a discussion. Let's stop the nonsense right here. It is not a discussion. This is kind of a little bit reminds me, not that I'm comparing Dillon Gabriel to this quarterback, but when Tom Brady went down, I believe 2005, 2006, Matt Castle took over, filled in admirably, went 11-5, ended up getting that huge, massive contract with the Kansas City Chiefs. Did not work out, right? He kept the team afloat and he showed a skill set in that offense. That is exactly what Dillon Gabriel did, and he is going to be ready to go. But Mackenzie Milton, he owns almost every UCF passing record, and the ones that he doesn't own, he's this close to touching them. He would have absolutely had them had he been healthy to finish his junior year, and if he would have come back at senior year, he would have smashed every single UCF records. From touchdowns, passing yards, everything. He's won his last 25 starts in a row. Mackenzie Milton elevate what Blake Bortles started. Mackenzie Milton, I'm not going to say finished because this journey is nowhere near, but took it to the absolute next level. To me, there's nothing to discuss. He walks in, he's healthy, he's medically cleared. If he's in football shape and ready to go, he's the starter. Now, in today's day and age, you have to worry about a little bit. Okay, so Dillon Gabriel, who finished as a top 10 quarterback in college football last year, what do you do with him, right? Is he going to transfer? That'd be the number one worry. I would normally say yes, except for this reason. Him and Mackenzie Milton are boys. Dillon Gabriel was recruited to UCF partly because of recommendations from Mackenzie Milton. Dillon Gabriel was a backup to Mackenzie Milton in Hawaii at their Milani High School. He's a guy that they're tight. I mean, he came over here. I really think that friendship alone, and DG would be so excited to see Milton get back on the field that he would absolutely, in my opinion, take the red shirt, be willing to hand over the keys. Here you go, take it one more year, and then 3 more years of eligibility for DG. Now, because of somewhat of a concern, we'll talk about another guy, Mikey Wright, who was a highly coveted quarterback that was committed throughout the entire process last season at UCF, ended up last minute decommitting, and he flipped over to Vanderbilt because of the freshman situation with the incoming situation with Mackenzie Milton. So just to summarize where I think the depth chart ends up, I got Parker Navarro, redshirt. I got Quadri Jones sliding in as that third string quarterback. I got DJ Mack as the maybe second string. Maybe something happens, starter or transfer candidate either after the season or before, so that would change things up, and we'll discuss that later on. I got Dillon Gabriel taking a redshirt year due to Milton coming back. And I got Mackenzie Milton, if he's cleared to play, as the unquestioned starter. This podcast I'm going to be trying to be doing 2 times a week. We're going to be discussing everything from recruiting, official visits. Obviously, once the football season starts too, we're going to talk about injuries. We're going to talk about the games. We're going to talk about player performances. We're going to talk about the NFL draft. We're going to talk about the combine. We're going to talk about the pro day, spring game. You name it, it's going to be covered UCF football. So welcome. I hope you guys enjoy this journey. And don't forget to like and comment, subscribe, please. Hit that little bell, ding, ding. Let's get it, guys. Charge on. Look forward to talking with you guys next time.